the Nairobi area.
I was anxious to get my first look at the Mathare Valley slums. It seemed like such a short distance from the roar of jet engines and world-class travel accommodations to the reality of life beyond our walls. I was unprepared for the sights and the sounds and the smells that awaited me in this valley of over 800,000 people. The Mathare Valley is made up of 10 different villages. The homes, or what we might call shacks or shanties, seemed to stretch as far as the eye could see. They were just simple pieces of mostly rusted sheet metal banded together. Mary Kamau, the founder of Missions of Hope School, led me on a walking tour through the community. And as we wound our way through the slums of Mathare, I began to understand what moved this courageous woman and her family over a decade ago to take a huge step of faith and respond to the needs. Over 95,000 children call the Mathare Valley their home. It is among the poorest and oldest slums on the planet. The poverty, living conditions, smells, lack of clean drinking water, and sanitation are nearly indescribable. In the absence of a simple toilet, most of the residents of Mathare dispose of their human waste in a plastic bag and just toss it out the door of their home into the street. The same streets where the children play and laugh and live. You quickly learn to watch where you step. The challenge to control and prevent the spread of disease, germs, bacteria is constant. Many have resorted to a life of drugs, alcohol, glue sniffing as a coping mechanism to escape the pain and hopelessness. People do whatever they can to make a living. Some businesses not so legit, like the selling of drugs and bootleg liquor, but so many more made up of hardworking people just trying to eke out a living. Like the woman cleaning and selling chicken necks and heads. Stuff it with potatoes, add a little sauce, and you have a Mathare Valley delicacy. Or those selling French fries, or attempting to make their living with a beauty shop where most Americans wouldn't even have been willing to store their garden tools, let alone have their hair washed and cut. One woman worked all day doing laundry. Her wages for the day? 33 cents. Families and children caught in this cycle of hopelessness have been convinced for generations there is no way out. And indeed, without education, employment, clean water, opportunities for economic advancement, there has been little to be hopeful about. And of course, ever present are the rising numbers of HIV and AIDS victims. As a dad with 2 daughters, I tried not to think about what happens in this valley after dark, where there is so little electricity, few light bulbs, and so little hope. But this is the reality of life beyond our walls. This is the reality of life for people who matter to God and who matter to us. And thank God, the winds of change are blowing. Children who had little hope of a quality education, or any education for that matter, are being lifted out of a life in the slums, receiving a quality, empowering, Christ-centered education. What began with the heart and vision of Mary Kamau and her husband Wallace to do something, anything, and just 50 children in a 2-room house has mushroomed to 3,400 children being lifted, taught, and inspired with a hope and a future. But Mary and Wallace have not done this alone. Other courageous and selfless Kenyans stepped up to the plate. And more recently, many Americans, overcome by frustrations with the great needs in this world, have said, I may not be able to do everything, but I can do something. And they've sponsored children. For the price of the ticket in the nosebleed section of Angel Stadium, they can support a child each month with a Christ-based education, 2 meals a day, medical care, and more. The stories that are now being written are astounding, but it happens one child at a time, one family at a time, one village at a time. Be sure to be here next week when we begin to talk about the solution of hope to these seemingly gigantic challenges. But for now, my first day in Mathare made me enormously grateful for the courageous faith and vision of Mary and Wallace Kamau, and enormously thankful for folks like you who have said we can make a difference